So I thought I might give everyone a bit of an update with how I'm going with Smokey. I did round one, but it was such a flat out weekend, I didn't film anything, not even in-car. So thought I'd do a bit of an update video. There was a lot of work and a lot of prep in the lead up to this event. It's obviously been a year since I drove the car before round one, which was round one last year. And yeah, it's been a hell of a thing getting this engine back together, getting it to the tuner, getting it to the event. We had about 2.5 weeks from when we got the engine back from the engine builder to when the event was, and it was a pretty flat out time, that's for sure. Make sure that we had all the parts, everything fitted fine. We did a couple of extra things to the car. We fitted up wideband knock sensors and changed the fuel setup. We're on E85 now. Make it a bit safer because obviously we had detonation issues last time. So I did all of that, smashed the engine into the car and shipped it off to Oz Dyno with about a week before the event. They managed to fit me in, thankfully. Shout out to those guys. It was about Friday that the car got on the dyno. Keep in mind this is Friday, the Friday before the event. So they did a day and a half of tuning on the car, wanting to make sure that everything was perfect with it. So my weekend was wake up at the bend on Saturday morning. I may have drunk a little bit too much the night before, and I went to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning. So that was probably a mistake in retrospect. But yeah, get up. Those guys finished off the dyno at about 12 o'clock, picked the car up from them since they're in Manham, straight out to the track, and then straight away pretty much encountered a problem with the steering. We changed power steering pumps, changed fluid, changed a whole bunch of stuff, and it just had this notchy feeling to it that just got worse with more and more RPM. Couldn't work it out, went to sleep that night, bit of a restless night since I'd done all this work, got to the track and we couldn't figure out what was wrong with the car. Got Dad to bring up a new power steering rack for Sunday. As I started pulling it out, what I realized was just adjust it. The headers were actually hitting on the steering shaft, partly because the actual urethane mounts for the engine, they had got so hot that they'd started to disintegrate on the dyno, and the whole engine was actually rocking under load into the steering shaft with the headers hitting. So that was a bit of a relief, if I'm honest, because it meant I could fix that. We pulled the headers off, we gave it a good old whack with a hammer and created some clearance, and from there the car was beautiful. It's exactly how I remember it a year and a half ago when I got the, Malalar, when I got the first half a day before it blew up the engine. And yeah, it was beautiful to drive. Still a bit rusty when it came to this car, but yeah, went out there, we made some changes to the car, chucked some more grip in it, and yeah, it was running perfect. It made 330 kilowatts on the dyno, so I was stoked. I didn't want to know my results though as we went through the battles, because I just wanted to drive as well as I could and do my best results without getting in my own head and worrying about where I was. Kane nearly let the cat out the bag though in the final round. But yeah, got through the battles. I think I ended up 4th through the battles, which was my highest qualifying ever for a DSA round, I reckon. And went into top 8 with Roger. I had all the quick cars over the weekend. I had Roger in battles, then I had Luke from WA, who's got a very gripped up S13 with a LSA. And yeah, went out with Roger. We both made a bit of a mistake, got a rerun.
All right, so here we go. This is going to be another interesting one as well. So we've got Roger Ianson. He's going to be chasing Tate Lindstrom. So it's great to see Tate back out. Tate into the top 8 for really the maiden voyage of this E46. It's the first time he's got around without blowing a motor. So good to see him out and performing super well in this E46. Of course, he's leading first, so he's the high qualifier of the two as well. So Roger gets a little bit caught up on that transition. Yeah, he really got caught out in that transition, but he manages to get right back up in line. But yeah, a little bit interesting on that transition there from Roger, but a little bit bright in the pocket now, right behind Tate. Tate's super quick in that BMW as well. It's great to see it. Roger pushes him across the line. Luke Broadbent do the whole like head shake. Oh, I don't know. So here we go. Though we got battles on the track. We got Roger Ianson now in the lead.
Look at Ianson
in the lead. Look at the chase there. The nice dive there. that BMW's got some pace for sure. Like, that car of Roger is not slow, and Tate is all over him. Or Tate's going a little bit wide there, or was it Roger being shallow? Either way, there's a bit of a gap being established. Let's see if Tate can close. Drops a tyre.
Yeah,
He's
Tate
definitely
not
cutting
really-
the line there to try and close the gap.
But did a bit late, like Tate, Roger gave him that opportunity for that nice
Yeah.
wide line, and Tate just wasn't really sneaking up there.
And then I made a big old mistake going into the bowl where I couldn't get the car to flick out the way that I wanted it to. It sort of did something last minute that threw me off. And that was the end of my weekend, but because I qualified so high, I got 5th overall, which I'm stoked with, and we finally got Smokey into the top 8. So, yeah, hell of a weekend. Good result though, car's perfect. There's a couple of little marks down the side of it from tyres and things like that, so we know that the car got driven against, but yeah, it was an awesome weekend in total. Now, I'm prepping the car for the Motorsport Festival, the Adelaide Motorsport Festival, in about 2 weeks' time, March 24th, 25th and 26th from memory. Going to be out there with Smokey and 13 other great drift drivers doing demos out there. So I'm looking forward to that, doing a bit of a bolt check at the moment on the old girl. And yeah, so that's going to be coming up very shortly. So thanks for putting up with me for the last 5 minutes. And I'll end out this little update by saying thanks, and I'll see you hopefully at the Motorsport Festival. Cheers.